So I've noticed something lately. It's came up on Cornette's show, and I've been hinting on it for a while.
Sure.
WWE, not specifically them, but it just so happens it revolves around them. There's a lot of content, Jake. A lot of content.
There is.
And I can't do it.
I fully agree on that. There's too much content, and you've got to pick and choose. Yeah, I obviously you've got your 3 weekly shows, 2.5 hours of Raw, which I feel like we can say is the Raw runtime at this point, 2.5 hours, unless there's something special, which I think could happen for the Raw after the Elimination Chamber. That could make a chance to have a longer show because of the bigger matches there and Fallout. But you got that. You got 2 hours of NXT, which I think some people, obviously not everybody watches, and 3 hours of SmackDown. So even if you just have the 2 main shows, that's 5.5 hours a week. And then if there's a PLE or a Saturday Night Main Event, that's going to be another 2 to 3.5 hours. I like the biography style shows and the rivalry shows and the historical shows. Those are fun. I know a lot of that stuff is rehashed and people have seen it 1,000 times, but if we've lived it, I could see it 1,000 more, especially if you have somebody else giving a different take or maybe a video from 10 years ago that they filmed when they were still cool with somebody, but then they had a falling out, but now Triple H has mended those fences. That's awesome. At least there's something fun about it, but I can't, like the LFG show, I watched the first episode and I mean, I enjoyed it, but there was nothing pulling me in. Like, that's not, I mean, Tough Enough was fun back in the day in like the first couple, when it was still on MTV, because it was still like shot as more of a entertainment show and had them living in the house and being goofs and stuff. This one is focusing, I feel like, more on the coaches and their opinions on things. And some of the insight is cool when you hear them talking about, hey, you got to lock up and make sure it's tight and looks real and, that kind of stuff. And I'm sure for a lot of people, it's great. It's great content. That's just, I don't know. I don't think I'm the target audience for that.
No, I don't think I am.
I feel like maybe
that first week, the LFG show and the rival shows were terrible, ratings wise.
Those have never done that great ratings wise, have they?
The rival shows, the first year they did them, they were averaging 300 to 450.
Okay.
And then the first week of this year's was Steve Austin and The Undertaker, I think. Was that the one? Yeah, it did 178.
Yeah. So, and here's my thought there. They've got the wrong lead-in for the rival show, because they would have the biography lead into the rivals. That's the same audience. The LFG show, I mean, yeah, there's the legends on there, but you're really not getting stories. You're not getting like the historical footage. You're not getting the old rivalries or old storylines that you grew up on, or whoever they're doing in the biography episode. So I don't know if the LFG, because I was more excited to watch the rival show than I was the LFG show. I'll admit that. And even the WWE Greatest with Michael Cole, like, that's nothing fantastic, but I can throw it on while I'm, cooking dinner or hanging out. Like those are fun to watch. You've seen all those clips 1,000 times, but a lot of them are great clips. So I'm happy to watch those at least. It's just, for me, the biography shows were always the best, because there was at least some kind of nugget that you could take or something different that you hadn't seen, even if you'd seen the story 10,000 times. Similar to Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring, a lot of those stories you might know, but maybe parts of it you didn't, or whatever. At least that type of show is going to be entertaining for me. I'm always going to enjoy that and take notes of that. And if people would like to, I'm happy to review them on the channel with you. Like those are the shows that I fully enjoy.
Which leads me to my concluding point. Mr. Brian, I'm not going to take credit for this, but Brian Last was talking about the WWE has so much archive footage and so many people and so many wrestlers that they could go into 80s guys that just like Billy Jack Haynes. There's no biography on Billy Jack Haynes.
Yep.
There'll be a Dark Side of the Ring, but there's no WWE biography.
Right.
They could pick a lot of people and revive that series. Do you agree with that, or do you not agree with that?
No, I do. I wonder when you say that, the first thing that sparked in my head was maybe that's one of the reasons why they're releasing so much content on that WWE Vault channel on YouTube. Because maybe if certain things get more views than they expected, or more interaction, or more people rewatch things or something like that. I'm not sure. I would think that's a good way of like testing those waters. Also, I feel like some of that stuff might be being saved for Netflix, especially like a Billy Jack Haynes. That's not something you want to air on A&E. Maybe you want to air on A&E on a Sunday night, but I feel like that'd be better for Netflix. You could get a little bit more real with it. I mean, that's a weird way to put it, but it is that's the best way I can think to put it. That's what I would think, at least.
But they own so much footage.
No,
they own Florida. They own AW. They own a lot.
I mean, they
of
own
stuff.
they own everything of Crockett, don't they? Because of the WCW purchase, because that all went to Ted, and then that went to Vince. So, I mean, yeah, no, they've got.
Think of all those guys that you grew up with, that your era of wrestling that you grew up with, that there's no biography on.
Oh man, there's tons.
Exactly.
Give me a Fit Finley documentary. Give me more Regal. Like, I'll take any of that. Didn't Nick Khan recently say something about how their partnership with Netflix has been going well, and they were purposely going to expand their content with Netflix? Because I mean, the deal is not just for Raw; it's for other types of documentary content as well. And let's be real, they really haven't released a lot on Peacock recently. They, when they first moved over from the network, I mean, when it was still the network, there was almost a new documentary, or that WWE 24 or 365 or the day of, all those type of shows. Those were released on the network pretty consistently, like once or twice a week. That was the whole reason I had it, honestly, for a lot of times when how bad things were. But going over to Peacock, they haven't had nearly as much of that stuff on there. And I don't know if maybe because Peacock doesn't need it, doesn't want it, but
they're taking it down.
I mean, hey, then I'm happy with it moving to Netflix. Is more stuff that's in one space, the better. Like, that's great. And so far, Netflix has been fantastic with Raw, minus that one episode that had a little glitch.
Here's the thing that there's my I have a point. Netflix is going to be geared toward the younger audience. These biographies I'm talking about in your generation stuff, they're for people different age group. So Netflix ain't going to touch those biographies like that. I wouldn't think. I mean,
there's a lot of historical sports documentaries on there. I mean, just in the last time.
How far back do they go?
I mean, I just watched the American Gladiators documentary on there less than 2 weeks ago.
That's
that
your
wheelhouse
period.
time. Yeah, I mean, that early night.
Okay.
Okay, first off, I can say it here. I'll admit it. I loved American Gladiators before I loved professional wrestling. I can tell you that. They just didn't keep it on the air, and it got worse. And if you watch the documentary, you find out why. But
I've watched that. I've seen that. Yeah, you're right.
It's good. Okay. There was also one that ESPN did recently that was good. The Netflix one was better. It was Muscles and Mayhem or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's fun. But like stuff like that, I mean, if you can tell the story right, there's an audience for that. Especially now as people get older and realize that it's not as hard to connect to that stuff. I mean, my TV has a Netflix button. I don't have to, for Raw, I like to say, when it's 4 minutes too, I just hit the Netflix button, and Netflix now has figured me out, so it knows, like, you ready to watch Raw? Yep, thank you. And then you just put it on, and usually I mute it till Phil goes on to PWT, listen to Phil on PWT and watch Raw. It's perfect. I think it's better. I've had better experiences with Netflix so far than I have with Peacock. I've had a few different issues where Peacock has lagged or like kicked me out of the show randomly. That happened at Survivor Series once, like getting into War Games and then it boots you out and you go back. It's like that Simpsons episode where they unplug the TV. It's exactly how I felt.
I've never once had a problem with Peacock ever.
I'm
one of the lucky ones, I guess.
I mean, they're probably you live more east than me. I feel like Peacock doesn't care so much about us out here in the West. That's early for them. They'll watch it later.
I guess my conclusion is I'm just worried there's too much content and they're going to drain themselves. And I was the one that said they should make a women's show. So,
well, I feel like there's. I still feel like those are different audiences. I mean, the shows that they put out are always, they'll promote them. They can, I mean, they'll do what they're going to do. But I mean, what does A&E regularly get on a Sunday night? I mean, I don't even know what shows they have anymore. Is it all those like Storage Wars and Neighbor Wars? And
probably,
I mean, those can't draw that many people. I mean, maybe they can. I don't know. I mean, Vanderpump Rules was like the big competition for NXT and AEW for a while. So I don't even know what that is. So I know Vanderpump is a female. Jim and Brian always like, who's this Vanderpump guy? And I found out once it's a female. Okay then, good for her. But she kicked the crap out of AEW and NXT, so that's why she rules, apparently.
Sounds good, man. That was what I wanted to ask you, so I appreciate it.
I like it. No, but I do think the Netflix, I would like to see what happens with Netflix content within the next 6 months to a year, because they've got a 5-year deal with them initially, right? That can go to 10.
Now 4 to 5 to 10, something like that.
Yeah, I believe the initial deal was the 5 years, $5 billion, and then they can double it and go to 10 if they want. And it will all come down to what happens with the PLE rights, because they go to what they just announced, actually. WrestleMania 42 is the last PLE that's for sure on Peacock in the current deal.
2026.
So it's going to be a very interesting 15 months, because they're going to, I feel like that was going to be where their WWE has probably saved some content that they filmed or that they want to put out, and see how it does, be it through Peacock, YouTube, Netflix. It's going to be interesting. That's a good question. So let us know what you think in the comments, people, everybody.
I wasn't done. I had one more.
Oh, sorry. Please. Oh, my bad.
I thought of something when you said it. Sorry.
And one more thing. No, let's go. I like it.
Which, you think Peacock's going to try to renew?
I mean, I feel like they're going to have to at least put in a bid, because they've got the deal. The USA deal goes for 3 years. So, and USA is under the NBC Universal umbrella. So there's at least still something there. But my honest thought would be that Peacock will put in bids knowing that Netflix will outbid them, and they're just going to raise the price, which WWE is going to have zero problem with.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be something if they kept them, though? Oof.
I mean,
it's so confusing in the U.S. when everyone's talking. Get it here, get it here, get it here. Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. It would be smoother. It definitely would be a smoother plan, to keep everything on them. And then you can also have it kind of tie together, too, where, like, when you finish Raw, it can go to a recent PLE or something. Yeah, no, I would very much. I mean, from what I've heard so far from people, friends that live in Canada and a couple in the UK, it seems to be a better play. It basically seems to be like having the WWE network via Netflix. And it's like, well, I want that.
Yeah, me too.
So, I hope the deal gets done, but I would see, if I had to put a prediction in today, it would be, yes, they'll go to Netflix. NBC will try, along with probably Amazon and everybody else. I mean, if WWE still is hot, because they'll make this deal this fall. The deal will be made this fall with wherever they're going to go, just like they did with everything last year, well before the deals go up. That's how they work it. When did they announce the Netflix deal? Like in August, September of last year, and that wasn't until January. Same kind of situation will happen with the PLE deal. But it'll be very interesting. But I feel like Netflix will win that bid, but it's going to be a hefty bid, and it'll probably end up redoing their current deal that they've got, or adding it to the 10 years or whatever. But yeah, I like it all in one home.
Very interesting.
We grew up with the WWE network, so it seems to be what I was thinking. Cool. Well,
all right, now you can tell people to comment.
Sorry. We're getting this done. Hey, professionally unprofessional or unprofessionally professionals. That's who we are here. We are still learning and figuring it out. We're going to make mistakes, but please give us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions or anything you'd like us to talk about on the next show, by all means. Our next show, we plan to do a Elimination Chamber review show. We'll try to get that out for you guys as quickly as we can. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you next time.